Hey, hi everyone. Uh, I'm a little bit rushing around. Had some things going on late at the shop, so bear with me a minute while I get my bearings. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight just to go over the Frank Shawl one more time and to screen share. And I thought I brought my bag with me of my colors, but of course I left them home. Um, so let me, because some people really had a couple questions about what shawl I was actually talking about. So let me see if I can do this. There. Um, okay. Whoops. Let me go back a minute. So this is the Hohi shawl. And if you notice, there's 4 colors. And I have 2 kind of solid dark colors. And this is green on mine, of course. And then another solid dark color. And then it kind of goes to light. But you need to pick one color that goes all the way through and will show some good contrast with the solid color that goes all the way through it. If that's making sense as to what I'm saying. I think it's a beautiful shawl. It's beautiful and big, and you can really wrap yourself up in it. Again, it's the Frank shawl, and it's the information on Ravelry. So if you have any questions about it, you can give me a shout out. And what I would say is, look through your stash, and it doesn't have to be Madeline Tosh Light. You can put any fingering, you can mix and match fingering weight yarn. So if you've got a couple of yarns that you really like at home that are fingering weight, but you need to check out some other ones, we still have quite a bit of Madeline Tosh Light on sale. And we still can you could still make some gorgeous 4 colors, but use what's in your stash. It's always fun to go shopping at home. There are no comments or questions about the Frank shawl. We can move on to what I really wanted to talk about tonight. But let me say that I want to do a knit along. I will start mine probably New Year's Day after the holidays. I've got a few things I need to do. It's just too much to start a big project like that because I know what will happen to it. It'll languish for a while. So it gives you time to collect your yarns, look through your stash, kind of decide what you want to do, and then we'll have a knit along with it in January. Now, what I wanted to talk about was pom-poms. And anyone who knows me really well knows that I really don't like or haven't liked to make pom-poms out of yarn. And what I have had here are the lovely alpaca pom-poms. And I almost sold completely out of the natural colors at Sheep and Wool Festival. And they are on order, so they will be back in. And then I also get some of the dyed color ones, and some of them are really, really bright, but the colored ones have the snaps on them. And what you do is you sew the snap to the outside of a hat, and then you can either put it on so that you can take it off to wash your hat, or if you have 2 or 3 hats, you can have 2 or 3 different colors of pom-poms and mix and match, if that is your thing. When I learned to make pom-poms, I don't know if you'd want to say correctly, but to learn a technique, it was so much easier. And 2 things that I never liked about yarn pom-poms, and one I still can't resolve, is the fact that it takes a lot of yarn to make a pom-pom. However, that said, I never liked making them because when my grandmother showed me how to make them, I would always have pieces of the pom-pom coming out. She noticed this one's pretty good. I didn't do a really great job of trimming this one, but there is a trick to making a really good pom-pom. And I have a little gadget that I use, and you don't have to use this gadget, but there are reasons that I like this. And let me go find it because I thought I had it in my hand and I don't. Here. So this is from a company called Loom, Loome, and I learned to make their technique of making pom-poms. And as you can see, I mean, this is pretty sturdy. I'm really pulling on it. If I did that on a pom-pom the way I made the old way, I'd have had pieces all over the place. So I made, this is for my granddaughter. And well, before I show you how to attach it, I'll show you how to make it. And then this is another one. This is for my grandson, but it didn't fit him. So it's going to be for my granddaughter too. I have to make him another one. So the first thing you do is we're going to wrap around this. And all three of these pom-poms were made in a little bit different sizes, as you can see, were made on this loom. And like I said, there are a couple of different designs. You can also make tassels. You can make little braid things. You can make friendship bracelets. There's all different little projects you can do with these. So what I like, this is going to be good with showing you, but what I like is that there's little notches so that you don't have to be super coordinated to do this. And because it takes so much yarn, it's nice when your yarn is wound into a cake because you can speed up your wind time by winding two at once. So I'm going to wrap maybe about 50 times. I'm counting. I'm towards the end of this. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this is about 50 times around, so it's doubled, so it's about 100 pieces of yarn. And you can hold it in a notch and trim it. So one of the keys, one of the tricks is to use a thread that is strong, that you can tie really tightly and it won't break. So something that works really well is embroidery floss. And maybe about 18 inches. And you can even divide it. It's I won't do this now, but I have divided it so that I use 3 and 3 because I think there's 6 strands. So what you do is you're going to tie, and this is kind of hard because I should have my overhead camera, hard for you to see, but you're going to get the idea. You're going to tie around the middle, and what's really just one overhand knot, and it does not have to be tight. And I'll show you in a minute. There, so just one overhand knot. And What's nice is that you can check to make sure you're in the middle by these 3 little notches here. And I need to scooch this over because I wasn't quite in the middle. And it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't have to be really tight. Then, okay, so I'm tied on this side. Then I am going to tie it on the other side. And obviously, this is much easier if it's on the ground. You're not trying to hold it up. So now I'm going to tie really tight on this side. Let's see if I can put this down. Here, maybe you can see. I'm going to do something called, I don't know if it really is, but something called a surgeon's. It's usually referred to in knitting as a surgeon knot. And so you're going to loop it around twice. So like you would normally begin to tie a knot, and then loop it around again in the same direction. And then you're going to tie it very tight. So if you can see now, it's very, very tight. And this is why you need something like embroidery floss that you can really do that with. And then you're going to take it off, pull it off, and go to the other side again. And I'm just going to tie 3 overhand knots. Again, tight, but it's about as dense as I can make it right now. So I've got 3 overhand knots on it. And this can be trimmed. Oops, this way. Trimmed. So that's the first trick, is to use embroidery floss to bundle your yarn. So now I'm just cutting this open. And again, I'm going to cut this open on this side. And I don't have you really need sharp scissors, and these are not my sharp scissors. So now you've got this nice pom-pom. It needs to be shaped. But how are you now going to attach this? So again, now I need a needle. This is the trick that really did it for me. Probably need a longer needle. Boy, I wasn't prepared for tonight. So again, with some embroidery floss, and however long you think you need for tying. So I'm going to cut off maybe maybe a foot. Thread my needle. And thread my needle. Got a real short needle. This could be bad. You want to kind of poke around the center where it's tied. Let's see. I'm poking around to see. What I want to do is find the hard spot where the knot is. Well, actually, I can even see it, which is good because I've left it here for you. But if you've trimmed this really, really small, you can find it. It's here. And you can see that the yarn is going this way around. What you want to do is put this through here, but you want to put it in the opposite direction of the yarn. So if the yarn is going this way, or not the yarn, the embroidery floss is going this way around, you want to put the needle this way through. So that when you're pulling on this, you're not pulling on the threads, you're actually pulling on the embroidery thread that you made the bundle with. And this makes it real, so that you're not pulling on these pieces and they're not going to come out. So this is what you attach your pom-pom with. Now you can go and you can trim this if you had sharp scissors, unlike what I have right now, and trim it down as much as you want. You can go to the Loom website, and she has pictures where you can see this very well, as opposed to with me. And sometimes she will trim things down. So lots of times she will trim things down very, very small so that it's very, very dense. And she calls them orbs. And maybe you've seen them before. They're beautiful. But for the top of a hat, I like to leave it like this. So when I have a pom-pom like this, what I like to do is put a button, attach it with a button. So these are all attached with, I'll turn it inside out. So I have, with my needle, brought through the ends and then threaded my needle and pulled it through the button, and just either tie a knot. I tied a bow with a double knot so that you can either change pom-poms. You can, if you're putting on something like this comes with a strong string that you can split and do the same thing so that you can take it off to wash your hat. And this makes for, it's really tight, as you can see. It's on here quite sufficiently. And I did the same thing on this one. You can leave it long. I like to do a double knot so it doesn't loosen. I could pick this out very easily. And you don't feel the button because it's not right tight to the top of your head. So now I kind of like pom-poms, and especially if you're making a child's hat, you usually have enough left over from a skein of worsted weight yarn, more than enough to make a good size pom-pom. And that's pom-poms in a nutshell. Hey, Colleen, and hi, Alexis. I hope that maybe you can, if you haven't enjoyed making pom-poms, you can enjoy it a little bit more. I am going to, I hope next week, show some felted pom-poms that I've made either with wool or with some roving. I was experimenting with some plain roving pom-poms, but I think they need to be felted down just a little bit. So I will play with that, and then it'll be fun to make some garland for the holidays. And even with regular pom-poms, if you've got a lot of, they don't have to be one solid color either. If you've got leftover yarns, this could be a really fun way to make some garland for the holidays. Or instead of a bow on a package, put a pom-pom on it. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I hope everyone is going to have a good evening, and that I will see you next week. And don't forget, there's still a lot of yarn on sale. There's going to be a lot of yarn on sale until the snow blows, I think. Leslie has been here helping me this week, rearranging yarns. As things sell, we're pulling more yarn off the shelves as we go, because I need to have some new yarn made for me. So I'm into the local and regional things. So anyway, that's it. You guys have a good evening. Thank you. Good night.